Granit Xhaka to Sunderland, Aaron Ramsdale to Newcastle, everybody. The Northeast is a thriving hotbed of news at this moment in time, whether or not it's Sunderland bringing in some outlandish targets in comparison to Newcastle, who are maybe missing out on some targets. And we're going to get into it in this video. We're going to be breaking down who's going where and what's happening on the Northeast side of things. Let's start off with Newcastle at this moment in time, everybody. I mean, Aaron Ramsdale, I have to be honest with you. I thought at Arsenal, he was okay. He was okay at Arsenal. I think David Raya is definitely a step up. I think the confusion here when it comes to Newcastle is the amount of targets that they've had, not just when it comes to goalkeepers, in James Trafford in particular, where they didn't push the button early enough. They didn't push the button early enough, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's because Amanda Staveley's now left, who seemed to be really captaining that ship in a really forceful but productive way over the time that she was at the club. Obviously, she left not so long ago. PIF have almost moved into a little bit of a no man's land area at this moment in time. Paul Mitchell was directing proceedings. He left. He wouldn't give Alexander Isak a new contract. He didn't feel that he was worth it. He had too long left on his deal. He didn't think he was worth that 200 to 300 grand a week movement. And that's obviously chaos now because Liverpool are moving in. Al Hilal have offered 600 grand a week for Alexander Isak. So they've not gone for the proper, or they've not been able to sign off their proper targets when it comes to Mark Gahey, but they've not managed to get a lot of their number one targets when it's come to it. Now the replacement when it comes to Alexander Isak looks to be Benjamin Sesko, of which will that move? We saw that not properly move with Arsenal. They wanted a massive fee for Sesko. Will Newcastle be able to get that one done? It looks like a difficult deal to get done between them and RB Leipzig, you would suggest, but 150 million in the kitty from Alexander Isak. You expect that they can maybe fluff up some positions. And I thought the goalkeeper would be another one of them for Newcastle in particular. Obviously, looking at a player like James Trafford, that was an absolute certified one to get done. Trafford and Pope have worked together before as well. It was almost the mentor and the lad who's coming through. I thought that really worked perfectly. But Aaron Ramsdale, I have to say, even as a Leeds United fan, it's a different predicament. I wouldn't have been happy with that one. It all stemmed from when Aaron Ramsdale was talking about losing focus and losing concentration in interviews. Sometimes the outside noise can get to him a little bit and he can play to the crowd. That will be a little bit of a worry for me, especially if he's coming in as number one. Nick Pope's not had the greatest preseason. We've seen him at Celtic having a little bit of a nightmare towards the back end of last season. Look, he was in the cup final, wasn't he? And was the goalkeeper when Newcastle won their first trophy in whatever it was, 70 years. So that was unbelievable. But is he going to be the number one? Obviously, he wasn't the number one because they went for James Trafford. So they're looking at another goalkeeper. Now, where does maybe Ramsdale make sense? He's worked with Eddie Howe before at Bournemouth. He's a young English goalkeeper. They're not going to be spending a lot of money on him. They're going to be getting him in on a loan, if you to believe reports. But Newcastle, from my perspective, didn't have these PSR issues, didn't have the problems this season. They were kind of on the positive end of it, really. So I think Southampton have got a release clause in there of 20 million quid. So we'll wait and see how this moves. But what a move for Aaron Ramsdale. What a move for Aaron Ramsdale. Again, got Arsenal early on in his career. And you have to say, when he got that Arsenal move, probably deserved it as well. Was fantastic previously when it comes to that at Sheffield United and deserved that move. And did okay at Arsenal. But I cannot get out of my head when it comes to Champions League, it comes to these fine moments, concentration and focus side of it for Aaron Ramsdale. And he did okay last season. Wasn't a purely horrific season for him. I think it's really naive to also just look at a goalkeeper when a team gets relegated. A goalkeeper can do well when it comes to goals prevented and save percentage. We have to bear that in mind. And then, we can have a terrible front line in front of him. That famous Sheffield United side, as a Leeds United fan, we picked up Jadon Bogle from that side and he's been brilliant defensively and they conceded 104 goals. So just because a team as a whole have done poorly and as a unit have done poorly doesn't mean you can just point the finger at one specific player unless that one specific player is a real standout horror show. And I don't think Ramsdale has been that when he's been relegated. Could be a good signing for Newcastle. I just don't see it, to be honest with you. I don't think this is a good signing. I think James Trafford was the ideal sign. I think they had a moment to bring him in as well. I think we're all very aware of that. And unfortunately, that didn't quite happen. And it just looks like at the minute for Newcastle, it's got to a stage where you're wondering what exactly is going to happen when it comes to the latter end of the window. Is Isak going to stay around? Alanga, I think, was a really good signing. There's a conversation if they paid a little bit too much when it comes to 65 million quid. But is that the way of the market? And they've missed out on target after target after target. And we can, listen, guys, we don't have to go through it, but there are so many and have been publicised to the highest nth degree with Newcastle. So let me know what you think in the comment section below regarding that. Let's move on to Sunderland, shall we? And this is just I think it's an absolutely terrific signing, I have to say. Sunderland, I was saying at the very beginning of the window, need to go out and get Jordan Henderson. I think that would have been a perfect signing for the Black Cats in terms of experience. Somebody who can distribute the ball just in a bit of an anchor role. I don't think he's as good a distributor as Granit Xhaka. I don't think he's as good under pressure at this time in his career now. Henderson's, 34? Xhaka's 32. Xhaka's played Champions League football last season. He's played 33 there? You can see on the stat pack when it comes to appearances last season. Under Xabi Alonso, he was the 16th voted player in the Ballon d'Or in that season where Leverkusen won the league, where there was absolutely bright sparks across the pitch with Wirtz, with Frimpong, and obviously with Granit Xhaka. He kind of was reborn, I thought, when he went to Bayer Leverkusen. But when he left Arsenal as well, let's bear this in mind, everybody. They absolutely loved him towards the end. His discipline had got a lot better. This is a top draw signing for Sunderland. It's a very good signing. And it's good to see, I think, the promoted sides putting a real good fist of it up, in my opinion, in terms of recruitment. We've seen Burnley bring in a lot of players. I think Sunderland and Leeds are on a similar sort of point. Sunderland may be looking at raw players coming in with really high sell-on value. Leeds United looking at maybe like proven players or a little bit older players that you're hoping can fit in straight away with maybe less sell-on value. So it's interesting how they're doing it right now when it comes to all the promoted clubs, and we will be talking about the league positions tomorrow. But I do think you've got to look at this one and think it's a really terrific signing. Once again, the experience and the leadership, which Sunderland desperately need in there right now. You look at Dan Neil, you look at Diarra, Siddiqui. Dan Neil's a young boy. Siddiqui is 20 years of age. Diarra is 21 years of age. He's just complementing that midfield. Enzo Lefebvre just ahead. I've mentioned before, football's not linear. Just because you've not outperformed and overperformed in the Championship doesn't mean you won't do that in the Premier League. I think that is complete nonsense. You can see a lot of players who maybe don't fit in the Championship, but then go on to perform really well in the Premier League. Listen, it's a top signing for Sunderland. I think it's a signing of which it potentially is in the realm of being the best signing of the window for the newly promoted sides. It's in the realm, it's in the conversation. There's been some really good signings by the promoted sides. This is another one for Sunderland. I think right now you look at them and you think they're giving themselves a really good shot now, aren't they, Sunderland? A really good shot of staying in the division. And it'll be easing Sunderland's mindset as well, seeing what's going on down the road in terms of Newcastle just not being able to get these primary targets and struggling a little bit when it comes to the market. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below with Newcastle. Do you like Ramsdale? What do you think? Is it a good signing when it comes to Sunderland? Granit Xhaka, football fans and Sunderland fans, of course, let me know in the comment section below. We will have your predictions video out tomorrow, everybody, which is a saucy one. Absolute pleasure. See you in a bit, guys. Cheers.